Iran and Israel escalation, self-defense, and the struggle for sovereignty. A step-by-step look at the recent escalation and Iran's right to defend itself. 1. The historical context. The hostility between Iran and Israel is not a sudden phenomenon. It spans decades and is deeply rooted in Iran's opposition to the Israeli occupation of Palestine, which Iran considers illegal under international law. Israel's covert and overt operations against Iranian nuclear scientists, facilities, and regional allies. The broader geopolitical chessboard, where Israel enjoys U.S. support and Iran aligns with anti-imperialist resistance blocs. For years, Israel has carried out airstrikes in Syria targeting Iranian forces and Hezbollah, often without direct retaliation. Meanwhile, Iran has fortified its alliances across the region, from Iraq to Lebanon to Yemen. 2. April 1, 2024. Israeli attack on Iranian consulate in Damascus. The most significant recent escalation began when Israel bombed the Iranian consulate in Damascus, killing several senior Iranian commanders, including members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. This act violated international law and diplomatic sovereignty, as consulates are protected under the Vienna Convention. Despite the grave breach, Western powers largely remained silent or justified the attack, demonstrating once again the double standards in global diplomacy. 3. Iran responds, April 13, 2024. In a move of calculated retaliation, Iran launched a barrage of drones and missiles toward Israel in what it called Operation True Promise. Over 300 projectiles were fired. Most were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome and allied defense systems, with U.S., UK, and Jordanian assistance. However, the political message was clear: Iran will not remain passive. Tehran stated that it exercised its right to self-defense under Article 51 of the UN Charter, a right enjoyed by all sovereign states when attacked. 4. Israel's counter-response and regional tensions. Following Iran's operation, Israel reportedly launched a limited but targeted strike inside Iran, near Isfahan, where a military base and nuclear sites are located. Iran downplayed the damage but reiterated it would respond to any aggression. Tensions escalated region-wide, with Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, and Houthis in Yemen issuing threats or taking actions against Israel and its allies. The region stood on the brink of war, not because of Iran's aggression, but due to Israel's ongoing campaign of extraterritorial assassinations and military strikes. 5. Iran's position: the right to exist, resist, and defend. Iran has made its stance clear. It does not seek full-scale war, but will not tolerate violations of its sovereignty. Its missile and drone responses were proportionate, aimed at military sites, and announced in advance to avoid civilian casualties. Iran frames its actions as defensive, while Israel's actions remain offensive in nature, often preemptive, extrajudicial, and destabilizing. This narrative is often lost in Western media portrayals, which cast Iran as the aggressor and Israel as the victim. 6. The bigger picture: Palestine and resistance. Iran's role in the region is deeply tied to the Palestinian cause. Supports Hamas and Islamic Jihad as part of its resistance axis. Criticizes Arab normalization with Israel, which it sees as a betrayal of Palestine. Believes in a united front against occupation, apartheid, and colonial aggression. In this light, Iran's military doctrine is not expansionist, but rather a deterrent force in a region dominated by U.S. bases, Israeli airstrikes, and double standards in international law. 7. The international hypocrisy. When Israel kills Iranian generals in a sovereign consulate, the world stays silent. When Iran strikes back in a controlled, proportionate manner, the world cries foul. The lesson? In global politics, justice often bends to power. But Iran's message is unwavering. No more silence in the face of murder and humiliation. Conclusion: the right to self-defense is not a privilege, it's a right. Iran is not the aggressor in this scenario. It is a nation that has endured sanctions meant to starve its economy, cyberattacks like Stuxnet, the assassination of key figures like General Qasem Soleimani and nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. In every instance, it has absorbed, calculated, and responded not with reckless vengeance, but with strategic resistance. This is not just Iran's right. It is its obligation to its people, its sovereignty, and to regional stability. And any attempt to deny that right is an attempt to deny justice.